It's time for F major added second chord. Thanks to my friend Riney for helping me program this week's synthesizer patch. Resolution of a housekeeping issue. I mentioned before that SoundCloud doesn't have enough space for the rest of the year's podcasts. I'm moving them over to YouTube. I don't know what I'm going to do with the ones that are on SoundCloud, but after this one, they're going to be YouTube exclusive. I'll put a link up in a description or somewhere. This is not about that, though. The future will be about that, but this is not about that. This is an album review for the new Geotic record, Abysma. Now, Geotic is one of the projects of Will Wiesenfeld. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Will Wiesenfeld, I would say better known as Baths. He put out this record in 2010, Cerulean, which is one of my favorite records. Lovely Blood Flow is perhaps my favorite song of all time. And in Baths, he constructs this sort of off-kilter pop music with these hip-hop and these R&B influences. It sounds a bit like Daedalus, except he sings more than Daedalus does. And sort of this sample hoppy, chop up the weird source material noises and mix in live instrumentation occasionally, loop that in. And as time has gone on, up to his most recent Baths release, Ocean Death, it's gotten sleeker and smoother and closer to, if not dance music or if not pop music, some middle ground in between the two. Geotic is his quote-unquote, this is his phrase, passive listening project, which up to this point has mostly meant ambient music, which has mostly meant processed guitar loops. And it's good stuff. It's good if you're trying to, you're on a bus and you're trying to sleep. It's very effective. But it's slowly coming to mean other things. Last year, the year before, I don't remember, he released a Geotic record that was vocal loops. That was something new and exciting. And now he has Abysma, which was released a month ago, I think, on March 31st on Ghostly International, which is a dance record. But it's a passive listening dance record. The reason it took me so long to review this album was because it just took a while for me to get a hold of it. It would slip past me while I was listening to it. I would, just as a matter of course, open up another tab or just open up and start writing whatever assignment it was I had to write. It's very good for that. It's very good working music. But is it good music? It's frictionless. It has as a record, as a whole, as an aggregate, it's very much a unit. There's a similar palette of sounds. There's, the synthesizers are all filtered a certain way, and the vocals are all placed in a certain location in the soundscape, and the phrases are all, I'm not going to say similar, but they come from the same family. And the songs, the tempo, the beats, there's always this fairly consistent tempo. If I did not like it, it would be monotonous. And if I did not like the sounds, they'd be boring, but I do. Instead of being monotonous and boring, they're subdued. They stick very much to a lane in a way that I think I appreciate. Now, I speak of the aggregate. There's not a lot of songs on this record that I would just listen to as songs. It's very good aural furniture, such as it were, but with the possible exception of Actually Smiling and the definite exception of Vaulted Ceiling, Painted Sky, none of the songs really leave much of an impression. Like I say, it took me a month to get to the point where I could say, this is this song, this is that song, I like this song more than that song. And I say I like this song more than that as a relative thing within a relatively narrow band of liking and not liking. Because it's not a bad record. It's not, by any means or measure. It's a solid piece of forward-moving music. It has a pretty good, consistent energy to it. I'm not disappointed. There's no way for me to be disappointed by this record. Because it doesn't... Could I be disappointed, perhaps, that it's not strong? It doesn't have, strong melodies the way Cerulean or Obsidian, the Baths records have had? I could, but I don't want to be. Could I be upset that... I don't know what else I would be upset at, to be perfectly honest. It sounds more or less like I expect it to sound, and it's pleasant. It's not bad. It's not bad. But it's not going to be like a favorite record. It's not going to assert itself as, yes, this is a record too I listen to all the time. It's not, it's not as, it doesn't have as much personality as the Baths records do. Because it's so smooth, there's not as much room for Will Wiesenfeld to get sort of, not thorny, or not prickly either. But since it's not as demanding, it's not as assertively him as much as the Baths records are. I don't know, though. I don't have any major complaints about this record. I just have the possibility of the aforementioned. And some pretty peppy songs on this album. It's pretty peppy. I think I gave Darcy's Saturday Night a C something, and I think I gave Fred Thomas a straight B. So I'm going to give Abysma a B-. Because it didn't... it's hard to say because I don't actually listen to Changer, the Fred Thomas record, that much anymore. And I can see this having a longer longevity because I'm always going to need background music so I can do things. But on the other hand, it's never going to be much more than background music. And eventually it's going to be displaced by some other background record. So the B- stands. Still love Cerulean. Still think that his, Still love Cerulean. But B-. By the way, most of his other Geotic stuff is free on Bandcamp. Or it's like donation, just pay what you want. But if you need soothing sounds to sleep to, I recommend Hearth. I think Realms is pretty good too. But if you're running errands, Abysma. If you're doing your taxes, Abysma. If you're making a list of things, you're fixing a hole, Abysma. B-, but, it has a place, and it knows what its place is, and I gotta respect that. Anyway, that's all I got. Good talking to you.